Handmade pipes have always had a special place in my heart, and they always will, but handmade, what does that even mean? I guess my use of the word is honestly a bit tongue-in-cheek, as really handmade just means what? Any pipe that was made by hand? Well, with that logic, that means 100% of pipes. We're talking the corn cobs, the Missouri meerschaums, the Rops, the Chacombs, the high-grade artisan pipes, and the reality is that all pipes require some degree of human hands to complete the project. This is absolute. Now, what is not absolute is the degree of which those hands are used, or rather how heavily involved those hands might be. So of course, when it comes to the artisan-made smoking pipes, we tend to, and albeit maybe a little bit unfairly, refer to them as handmade pipes. So yes, to say handmade pipes have a special place in my heart is a little bit of a jest, because there's some irony there, meaning that all pipes have a special place in my heart, but that's very, very true, but sometimes I'm afforded the extraordinary opportunity to highlight and showcase some of the masterful craftsmen that are out there, working day by day, and in some cases night by night, to handcraft a single smoking pipe, all from start to finish. And that right there is the magic, the unwavering allure, the artisan pipe maker. Well met friends, my name is Adam and this is Get Piped, where we love to pipe. And today's piping is all about another one. Artisan Spotlight. I love this series as it allows me to tell some stories and build upon the community. This is an entertainment first, information second type of show. You don't come to get piped for the down and dirty. Nah, here we share stories and experiences, and an Artisan Spotlight is an incredibly entertaining show, in my honest opinion, but outside of the Get Piped Artisan Spotlight is kind of a reoccurring theme across the pipe smoking sphere. Out there, we'll see and hear about these spotlights on pipe smoking podcasts throughout the YTPC, and of course the hundreds and hundreds of daily posts by the thousands of wonderful pipers that are out there among the IGPC, or the Instagram pipe community. Therein, each and every post of an artisan smoking pipe becomes its own mini spotlight. And that fact alone is such a massive win to the pipe smoking community and really those artisans, as their livelihood, or at least their personal passion, is at stake. As we get those eyes on that content, there's a little bit of a victory there for our pipe maker. To scroll through your feed and see some shining photography of a particular artisan's work being enjoyed with some delicious tobacco and perhaps a good drink, maybe a pint, is just a massive tribute to the artisan pipe maker. These mini spotlights get traction, and traction grows the artisan's network. That is exactly why I love the opportunity to expound upon that mini spotlight and present to you a mega spotlight, one that touches on the history, the personality, the work ethic, the techniques, the whole lot. And this in turn ultimately lifts up an individual who is dedicating their life to making art, dedicating their life to making pipes. So if but one person then goes on from this video to follow, purchase a pipe, request a commission, or even simply add one of their pipes to their white whale list, then that is an absolute victory. So with that said, I'm incredibly excited to jump into this one, as I get to proudly introduce my good friend Angelo of Il Cerchio Pipes. Italy, a land that has harbored and even continues to harbor some of history's greatest philosophers, thinkers, artists, and craftsmen. A world of culture, architecture, literature, and fashion. A place where family, tradition, music, and food seemingly flourish, and always will flourish. And while Italy and her shores are certainly filled with wonder, there is, however, no wonder on why the nation's success in art and beauty has easily been translated into our beautiful world of pipe making and pipe smoking. As we look back through the history of pipe making, we find, of course, a myriad of craftsmen, artisans, factories, and even hobbyists who have gained tremendous notoriety representing the Italian name. Names like Castello, Savinelli, Ascorti, Radice, Ser Jacopo, Don Carlos, Rossi, Il Duca, Brebbia, Caminetto, Musico, Arminelli, Becker, many more. Mimo Breyer, many more, several dozens more throughout history. In fact, they have been making their mark for pipe smoking. Italy has been a safe haven for pipe smokers and tobacco enthusiasts alike for over a century now. To this day, it is uncommon to walk the streets of Italy and not find an individual enjoying a cigar, a hand-rolled cigarette, or yes, even a tobacco pipe. And with a culture that values fine tobacco, you will easily find hardy people who value the philosophy and magic that coexists with the art of smoking. And just like the storied Italian pipe makers of the past, there exists today a younger generation of craftsmen working diligently to keep the embers burning across Italy and the world at large. By relying on their beautiful nation's history, they continue to innovate, create, and impart marvel and awe through the creation of every handmade smoking pipe. That cycle continues, and the craft continues to move full circle. And my friends, Angelo del Prete of Il Cerchio is not only no exception, but he is very quickly becoming the rule. The circle. The circle has no beginning, no end. A mysterious shape due to its perceived perfectness. The circle represents balance and harmony. Lacking any imperfections or corners, the shape expertly represents wholeness and completeness. This symbol of the circle effectively captures the idea of Angelo's pipe-making mindset and methodology. Thus, the emergence of the name Il Cerchio to represent and define Angelo's work as a maker, the Italian word for circle, that is. Circles are inherently balanced shapes. They distribute weight evenly and perfectly around their center and exemplify the equilibrium sought in art and in life. Of course, in pipe making, balance is crucial. Balance to the weight, to the feel, the design and proportions, and arguably most important of all, balance to the eye. Yet, how do we define balance to the eye? Balance in appearance. How can we say a particular pipe is perfectly balanced in the sense of visuals? Well, we can't. But like in all forms of art, generally speaking, those of us who are maybe not artistically inclined whatsoever can look at a famous piece of art and just know it's good, just know it's perfect. Sure, there will be deviation on opinion, but when it comes to a majority of the populace, we kind of just know, despite having zero understanding of the work or their methodology to bring the art together. Well, I guess that's our balance when it comes to art. And with a little extrapolation from that line of thinking, and one glance at any of the marvelous pieces that depart the Il Cerchio workshop, Angelo del Prete is a master of capturing balance in his artistic smoking pipes. But who is this guy? Who exactly is Angelo of Il Cerchio? Well, we've established he's a pipe maker, sure, but truthfully, he is much more than a maker. Angelo is a family man, a business owner, a Shaolin monk and Buddhist martial arts practitioner, learner, and teacher. Yeah, like for real, he's a literal martial arts guy. And on top of that, everything I just mentioned directly ties into Il Cerchio. But before we really dive into that, let's first talk about his business. Manager of Tabacceria Lento Fumo. Gosh, that sounded way too American. I'm sorry, Angelo. I have to do it. I have to do it. Tabaccheria lento fumo. Every Italian has clicked off this video. No, I'll have the words right here, but essentially it just means tobacco shop there in Italy. And Angelo spends his days providing both quality and maybe a little lesser quality tobacco products to the Italians in his community, but it's a tobacco shop. Yes, Angelo explained to me that their tobacco shops are just typically places where you can get almost everything. That includes the cheap cigarettes and tobacco, but it also means on the flip side, you'll find high-grade artisan and factory pipes. Well, that wasn't always the case for Angelo's shop. In fact, it was Angelo's enthusiasm for quality that changed the dynamic of the particular store. You see, Angelo's father, a businessman, essentially purchased this place to manage and eventually have his son Angelo run. When they first acquired the shop, Angelo quickly learned that he had his work cut out for him, at least if he wanted to be proud of the products his shop was putting out. Hint, he did and wanted to be proud of the products his shop was putting out. So originally the place had nothing but basket pipes, dried out cigars, and cheap cigarettes. You see, the previous owners did not value the merit of fine tobacco, nor the art of pipe smoking. No, not at all. No, they instead valued a quick buck or two from the dealing of lottery tickets and inferior smoking products. Angelo would have none of that. He wanted to provide value to the community and find pride and enjoyment in his work. So Angelo would go on over the next 10 years to learn everything and anything about cigars and the quality art of tobacco and smoking products. He would then move on into the pipe smoking sphere, where he hungered for more and more information, being especially infatuated with the beauty and seemingly limitlessness of design and shape of the briar. Not long, and Angelo was effectively transforming his tobacco shop into a location of high esteem. Basket pipes were being switched with Savinellis and Brebbias and Castellos. Dried cigars and cheap cigarettes transitioned to quality hand-rolled sticks to be savored and enjoyed with a delicious cup of coffee. Yet despite the success of his business through the renovation of products and business model, there was still one stone left unturned. As Angelo continued to sell fine factory pipes and even local Italian artisan pipes, he couldn't help but wonder what it would be like to create his own line of smoking pipes. Now, this inkling was based little in ROI or return on investment, but rather in, say, ROF, return on fascination. He didn't want money, he wanted to make pipes, man. Angelo was mesmerized by the beautiful pipes within his shop, the ones that he was putting out each and every day. He felt a strong calling to get wrapped up in the magical process himself. Well, of course, he gave in to that calling and embarked on this path of pipe making. He consumed all he could online, studied every single pipe that came in and out of his store, and eventually moved on to get professional advice and lessons. At this point in time, the name and identity of Il Cerchio had yet to be born, and Angelo pipes were instead being created and sold almost in secret, under a name that was still special to Angelo, that name being Wen Lu, which is actually Angelo's Buddhist warrior monk name from his sacred martial arts training. Now, you won't find any Wen Lu pipes out there, nor really any trace of them online, as he deliberately sold locally, as he knew he had much to learn. He decided that in these trial years, he would learn the craft and prepare for a full professional launch in time. Plus, he quickly learned that Wen Lu, the Italian pipe maker, was a bit of a curveball. Nonetheless, in those early days, he pressed on, carving pipes in a tiny corner of his tobacco shop when he could finally close the doors and flip the open sign to closed. There, Angelo worked through the late hours of the night, engrossing himself in the craft of pipe making. Now, as mentioned just a moment ago, once he was comfortable enough around the briar block, he mustered the courage to request some professional mentorship from several legendary Italian pipe makers. He began with the maker behind Il Duca pipes, Massimiliano Ramenzi. Under Massimiliano's mentorship, Angelo learned proper pipe making fundamentals. He learned and adopted the fundamental techniques to see an elite pipe come to fruition. Now, despite the mastery of Massimiliano and his expert lessons, it wasn't until Angelo went on to learn from the renowned Italian crafter Davide Lafisco, where he would then establish the core principles of high-grade pipe making. So we could go down the rabbit hole even further here with Davide Lafisco, the magnificent carver, but I want to get on to talking about these pieces, these beautiful pieces from Il Cerchio. So all you need to know is that Davide is a prolific maker, having learned and studied from various masters across pipe smoking to include Marcio Radice, Teddy Knudsen, and Claudio Cavici. Look all these pipe makers up. It's very fascinating to learn about, but with Davide, Angelo was guided, he was coached, he was trained, he was mentored in the theory, the art and craft of pipe making. And so it was under Davide that Angelo developed the artist's eye, the craftsman's hand, and the pipe maker's mind. There he developed the proper foundation for high-grade systems, finishings, shapings, and much, much more. So through this endeavor, through Davide Lafisco's tutelage, Il Cerchio Pipes was properly born. See, Angelo waited and waited. Quietly, he kept to his craft until he felt confident and proud enough of every single pipe that he was making would be worthy among anyone's collection. And it was with this fresh start where the cycle of pipe making began. The circle was born. Il Cerchio was born. Yet even still, his crafting approach is cyclical, and that cycle continues, just as his desire to grow and improve. Angelo would move on to study briefly under Mimo Romeo, the famous briar cutter and pipe maker, only furthering his experiences and his craft. And today, Angelo is excited to make pipes, each and every opportunity he gets. While he still has to prioritize his business and his family, he still finds time to sneak away to his shop late in the hours of the night to make art for the modern-day pipe smoker. In fact, yes, today it is a shop and no longer a tiny corner under the staircase like Mr. Potter living with the Dursleys. you know the dang Uncle Vernon and that grumpy fellow and the Aunt Petunia. I don't know. Oh, Harry, you're never going to Hogwarts staircase. Today, Angelo was able to expand his tobacco shop and add his own proper pipe-making workshop, which he finds such delight in. Gosh, isn't that awesome? It's just like a warming feeling to me when pipe makers get to retreat to these shops and just make magic from blocks of briar. And that's what they enjoy doing. That's their retreat. That's their therapeutic movement of the day. I love that. And I love smoking them too. And that is exactly what the man behind Il Cerchio does. Yet, I will say as of late, he has been hungry, not just for pipe making, but also for pipe smoking and pipe interactions. This year alone, he will have attended two international pipe shows. The first being Chicago 2023, and in a few days from this episode going live, the 2023 Las Vegas International Pipe Show. And these are his first two pipe shows. And man, did he decide to go big. Both shows here in the US offer a wide range of enthusiasts, content creators, makers, tobacconists, authors, hobbyists, estate sellers, cigar rollers, and smokers of all kind. And quite literally, there is everything in between and beyond. Most international vendors elect for only one show. Hell no, not for Angelo Del Prete. He needed more, and he's coming to two this year, both international shows held in the United States. He just needs more. He needs to be immersed in the sphere, just like you and I. And man, I can't freaking wait to see him in just a few days. I also can't wait to light up one of my two Il Cerchio pipes alongside him at the Vegas Pipe Show Smoking Lounge. And man, I'm not entirely sure it will remain one of my two smoking pipes by Il Cerchio, because after seeing some of the pipes that will be in Vegas, might be having to edit this one and say one of my three Il Cerchio pipes, but damn, man, look at these things. These 4 pipes will be available at the Las Vegas International Pipe Show this year, held at the Palace Station Hotel from October 13th to the 15th, 2023. Well, I'm pretty sure these 4 will be there. Might be 3 by the time I'm done making this video. But the lot boasts an exciting range of pipes. This sandblasted billiard with a bamboo accent is so incredibly well put together. This pipe is light in the hand, yet large in the chamber capacity. This could be an ultimate clencher. And as we move to the blast, we find a jaw-dropping ring blast all the way around the bowl. This piece is just great, and I'm sure it will be scooped up very quickly once the doors to the show floor open. Now next up, keeping the bamboo theme, Il Cerchio brings another delicate construction of a pipe to the table. This bent apple masterfully follows the shape of the bamboo and transitions flawlessly to a very small and smooth shank. The flanks of the bowl feature Il Cerchio's incredibly noteworthy sandblasting technique, and upon the pipe's underside and rim, we find a gorgeous red stain to bring out this pipe's character and voice. Gosh, dude, I am infatuated with this one. I'm trying so hard to not commit to buying a pipe in Vegas before I've even been to Vegas. But I am struggling, my friends. Look at this thing. However, the next blasted pipe is not one to be forgotten. It is arguably just as magnificent, at least to me, because I have a confession. I hate horn accents on pipes. I know, don't sue me, let me finish. That is why I think this pipe is magnificent, because this pipe goes so hard. And that's young guy speech for saying it's wonderful and I like it. It goes hard. I always thought a pipe maker was good at what they do when they're able to elegantly implement shaping styles or accents or maybe any other particular aspects that you might not particularly favor well. Right? Like if you don't like cheesecake but try cheesecake by the #1 cheesecake baker in the world, there's an incredibly good chance you'll enjoy it. So I apply that logic to this particular piece. Where I would otherwise tend to stay away from horn accent pipes, this one has me thinking twice. The more I look at this pipe, the more the horn makes sense to me. The transition from the shank to horn is flawless. The color of the horn is spectacular all the way around. And the golden insert ring surrounding the mortise is subtle yet elegant. And of course, more of Il Cerchio's extremely attractive stem work, which we'll break down in just a moment. I love this piece too. I really do, and I can see this one sitting on my shelf. I really can, and that is absolutely dangerous for me. Now for the last pipe up for grabs at the Las Vegas Pipe Show, at least of those that I have here, is a smooth bent brandy that features hearty proportions and an unbelievable grain all the way around the bowl. Upon the pipe's underside, we find a mesmerizing bird's eye that's just utterly accentuated from the beautiful burnt orange stain choice. The accent is another phenomenal artist's touch, as the boxwood marries remarkably well with the shank and the stem. Obviously, these things are insane, right? The urge to keep them is so strong within me, but alas, me pockets aren't that deep. But they certainly will find their homes following the Vegas Pipe Show. And perhaps one of those homes is your home if you were able to pick it up at the Vegas Pipe Show, or maybe you're watching it before and plan on attending. Be sure to visit Angelo and tell him I sent you. His table at the Vegas Pipe Show will feature these pipes as I mentioned, but there will also be several others. The pipes now on screen will be included as a full lineup of Il Cerchio's table at the Las Vegas International Pipe Show. Yeah, you know, I may have my eye on a couple others. I'm hoping to visit him as soon as the show floor opens and maybe get the first pickings, despite, kind of already having the first pickings since I'm holding 4 of them right now. So I guess the second pickings behind me. Yeah. Now these pipes are not cheap. These are high-grade Artisan pipes, and they're backed by everything he's learned from some legendary artisans. You can expect that entry-level price point for his, I don't want to say lower end, but maybe like a sandblasted piece as opposed to, say, a smooth. They'll probably go for around the $550 to $600 mark. That's a lot of money. I get that. I completely get that. I don't have this shelf, which you can kind of barely see. It's not full of $600 and $700 pipes. There's a couple artisans there that were $120. It's just, it's a wide range in this hobby, and there's a place for everyone. There's a place for every pipe maker. There's a place for every budget. But Il Cerchio just happens to be one of those top tier Italian pipe makers that warrants a significant price point based on the hours spent in the shop, the hours spent getting the hours spent getting tutored. Oh man, I gotta close this one up. But the last thing I do want to talk about is the stem work. Il Cerchio stem work is absolutely incredible. And one of the pieces that I like most about Il Cerchio pipes is the bit. Now the bit is extra special. And it actually does pay a little bit of tribute to that Wen Lu, his Shaolin monk name and his Shaolin monk training. If you look closely at the stem, you'll notice something quite different than that of which you would typically see on a regular stem bit, and in my experience, any artisans. And that stem has a little bit of a U shape to the bit. This U shape is very akin to that of a pagoda. You know, we know these pagodas, these traditional Japanese, Chinese, and Taiwanese, many different Asian cultures will use this building structure, this architectural approach, what we've called the pagoda. And as you compare the bends in the pagoda and the bends in his bit, you'll see a marvelous similarity between the two. These bits are incredibly comfortable to smoke. I really enjoy smoking these pieces, and again, that little bit of a U shape gives it so much character. And now, having known where that history comes from, the idea that Angelo del Prete is a practicing martial artist, and that's where that is drawn from, is very special to me. I like how he imparts a new technique to pipe making while paying tribute with what's near and dear to his heart. And then one last clarification, very comfortable. It might look a little bit sharp. I've never noticed any kind of problem. I actually prefer these bits to some of my other artisan pipes. Obviously, I don't want my other artisans to start copying Il Cerchio's approach, but anyway, it is a fascinating piece of the Il Cerchio pipe that makes it pretty distinct. But man, I am super excited for the show. It is going to be an absolute blast, and I'm excited to share a bowl with my good friend Angelo from Il Cerchio Pipes. Now, if you're interested in Angelo's pipes, you can find him on Instagram at Il Cerchio Pipes or his website, www.ilcerchiopipes.com. Other locations to browse his pipes would be one of his official dealers like smokingpipes.com, and I believe one other is on the way. They're kind of like I don't really know too much about them. They're a little secret organization coming up or whatever. I don't know, but right now you can check smokingpipes.com. I'll have a link to all of these locations in the description below. And if you see something you like and want something similar, Angelo is certainly up for commissions. The best place to reach him for those commissions would be his Instagram. Now, I can go on and on and on about these pipes and even more so about Angelo and the shaping of Il Cerchio as a renowned artisan pipe making name. I truly cherish my two Il Cerchio pipes, my most recent acquisition being this mini clenchable blasted pot you've been seeing throughout the video. It's got a tiny fraction of a horn connecting shank to stem, and the second was that extraordinary smooth blowfish with an undeniably impressive spine gracing the pipe's bottom side. This thing still boggles my mind. I smoke this one so freaking sparingly because of how much I cherish it. But I know when Angelo sees this, he'll be punching the air as he would want all of his pipes to be smoked instead of sitting pretty on a shelf. I don't disagree with that, mi amico. I don't disagree. If you manage to make it this far, drop a little Italian flag emoji in the comments. Then, to really show your support, instead of subscribing to my channel or liking this video, use those extra 4 seconds to drop a follow on Angelo's pipe page. But I have to say thank you so much for spending your time with me and watching this little production. And as always, engaging with the content from the YouTube channel to the audio podcast. To hear about my adventures at this upcoming Vegas pipe show, make sure you're subscribed to the Get Pipe podcast, available on all hosting platforms. But that's it from me. You have all just been piped. And until the next piping, I'm out.